Welcome to today's Premier Experts, your one-stop shop to find industry experts in a variety of niches. My name is Ray Perez, and I'm a global branding expert. I travel the world speaking to entrepreneurs and business owners, and we've created this show to take advantage of their wealth of knowledge. I interview experts across different fields to learn what has made them become successful. When you interview people from a wide range of industries, those points of views brought together can create massive success for your business. Welcome to the world premiere of today's Premier Experts. I'm your host, Ray Perez, and today we'll be showcasing three celebrity experts: Jeffrey Hayzlett, Marco Robinson, and Les Brown. But before we get into the interviews, we have a special segment called $1 Million Mindset. This is where we get the opportunity to ask high-level CEOs what it takes to reach 7 figures and beyond.
Hi, I'm Zach Ward. I'm here with allsportsmarket.com. It's the world's first sports stock market. Berkshire Hathaway trades on New York Stock Exchange, and the Golden State Warriors trade on All Sports Market. The biggest obstacles you come up with in the beginning are yourself, laziness, apathy, postponing what you're supposed to get done. You need to grind it out. You need to get up in the morning, hit the gym, or get your brain smart any way you can. Have your list of what you need to accomplish and get after it. Because as soon as you have a certain level of success, there is something that's going to come your way that's going to knock you down, and you have to have the tenacity to start again from that position. And those are the same hurdles that everybody goes through, and that's why those people are successful, because everybody else, the bodies, the failures litter the road because they quit halfway through. So don't stop and push harder, and there's a big power between mind-body connection, and that helps you to overcome adversity. Always be open to input from other people who you respect. Whether it's as a filmmaker or as an entrepreneur of a company, nobody survives in a vacuum. So it's important to find like-minded individuals, not necessarily people who agree with everything you think, but people who have a level of experience and intelligence and education in other fields and other venues that you don't have, but have proven themselves intelligent in the way that they articulate their lives and execute their visions, and then turn to them as a reflection of your own work and discuss it with them. Be willing to be open to their advice and suggestions, because even if their suggestion is something that you absolutely despise, you may learn something from it. When you write a scene for a movie, even if you write the scene improperly and it's a kind of a piece of crap, if you analyze that piece of crap, you're now giving yourself a subjective reason why you want it to be better, and you can see what the mirror opposite of that is. So it gives you guidance. So always be open to good input, and don't take yourself too seriously, because no one's right all the time.
He is a global business celebrity, keynote speaker, best-selling author, podcast host, and chairman of the C-Suite Network, which is home of the world's most trusted network of CEOs. Hayzlett has been featured on Forbes, Mashable, Bloomberg TV, MSNBC, and Fox Business, amongst many others. He is one of the most compelling public figures in business today. He is a maverick marketer, brand building expert, business mentor, a member of the CPAE Speaker Hall of Fame, and a dear friend. So let's dive right into the interview with our special guest, Jeffrey Hayzlett. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks so much for being, to have me on this set and be part of this entire show.
Well, I know this is nothing new to you because you've had your own shows,
Yep.
You've been on several, and I want to just dive right into things with you and give me a little bit of background of yourself. Let people know who you are and where you came from.
You know, I've bought and sold over 250 businesses in my career, over 25 billion in transactions. So I've been in business. I've been a startup entrepreneur all the way through a corporate executive running billions and billions of dollars worth of marketing expense or sales expense in the companies I've done. And then, of course, I've had my own television shows on Bloomberg, a primetime show, contributing editor, and CNN, MSNBC, you name it, I've been on them. and have done all that, and even been a judge on Celebrity Apprentice with Donald Trump for 3 years. Back when I was doing my corporate gig. And so now I'm chairman of the C-Suite Network, and we have C-Suite TV, C-Suite Radio, which is podcasting. We have conferences, the Hero Club, and we, about everything under the sun.
You have so many things to talk about. We're going to get into all of that, but I want to go back when you were in your corporate job. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people out there, they're in their corporate roles and they're considering or thinking of transitioning over to being an entrepreneur, right?
Oh, yeah.
You've done that very successfully. So can you share a little bit about that transition, how that happened?
Yeah, I've done it as an entrepreneur, going to corporate world and then back out again. And of course now I'm a brand amongst myself, being Jeffrey Hazlett, so to speak. I speak almost in a third person in terms of my experience in that as an author, speaker, television host, and podcast host. So yeah, you have to learn to kind of make the transition and become the brand, and understand that even if you're running a business, you're in essence, they see you, they see the brand. They see the brand, they see you. So when you're in the Village Inn Pancake House or whatever, when they see you in the morning having a cup of coffee with the guys or the gals, they'll see that, not only is that Jeffrey Hazlett, that's also the C-Suite Network. That's also XYZ Business. And so that's an important thing for you to remember. You are the brand, because a brand is nothing but a promise delivered. So what's the promise that you're delivering? And it's usually you.
I love that. A brand is nothing but a promise delivered.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's a logo, it's the colors, it's the essence. But when you really, look at it, a brand used to be something we always put on a cow and occasionally a horse. And I'm a marketer, so I understand that. And we made that transition when we started calling a brand a company or a logo. And it's more than that. It's really, truly a promise delivered. So you really want to delve into, as an owner, as a founder, or yourself, if you're going to be the brand yourself, is what is my promise? What am I going to be? What am I going to deliver to the people? And that's when they see it. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't respond to emails, if you're the kind of person who doesn't respond to text, doesn't call people back, well, that's not very good for your brand in terms of you're going to be a consistent kind of player in the marketplace. So there's little things like that. So you are your brand.
Well, obviously this is such a great conversation to have with me.
Well, you're the expert, man. You know that. You live the brand. You look the brand. You play that part. But more importantly, I know who you are. You're genuine about that. You eat and sleep and drink that. So you're constantly coming to me with suggestions on things. I'm beyond hopeless. I'm not going to change. I'm an old dog with no new tricks, right? No, I'm actually a baby boomer in a millennial body. That's the way I try to describe it, and probably bigger than necessary, as my wife would say, in terms of just size. But nonetheless, you live that. So yeah, it's a great conversation to have with you.
So let's go back a little bit. You're from South Dakota.
I am from South Dakota.
And you ride horses. I
got a tractor, a Kubota, and I get out there and saw things down. I own a bridge. I'm on a river. Yeah, I got horses. Yeah.
So you're not the typical in the suit CEO that most people would think.
I gave up wearing suits a long time ago. The closest I wear to suits now, a jacket and a shirt. You should wear a shirt, I guess. And then jeans. I always wear jeans and cowboy boots. In fact, when I was on Bloomberg, they tried to get me to change. I said, look, you bought this. This is what you bought, so this is what I'm wearing, so I'm not changing.
Well, I love that, because I've been to some of your events, and everybody recognizes and comments on the boots.
Yeah.
The jeans and the boots, and then you got the jacket on it.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that is your brand, and you stick.
Well, Zuckerberg wears his hoodie, Now, you got to learn when it's appropriate or not, and will it affect you? It does affect you. Now, think about this. Because like when he went to Wall Street, he wore his hoodie. Don't show up at Wall Street wearing a hoodie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Oh, yeah. Your stocks are not going to do as well. Your stock's going to go down. So there's appropriate times and places. Now, some of us can carry that off. Look, I've already done it. I bought and sold 250 businesses. I got the street cred. I've been there. I've done that. I've been in Fortune 100 companies. I've been on television. I am who I am, and if you don't like it, I really don't care. So I'm comfortable with that, and I think Zuckerberg's probably the same way.
Of course. Now this is really important, because once you get to a certain level of success or exposure to the world, you can do different things. But how about for the everyday average person out there that is not known, it's not a celebrity?
I think the most important thing for most people to do is be yourself. I have people, speakers, because I'm in the Speaking Hall of Fame, and they'll come up to me and say, what's it take to be a good speaker? Be good. That's what it takes, right? They say, what's the best advice? Be good, okay? And how do you get good? You practice. You do it over and over and over, and you do it as many times as you can. And then you learn, and then go watch other people and learn how they do it. Now, don't copy from them. Develop your own style, your own way. Develop your own signature stories of how to get your point across, and a lot of people don't do that. They think they're trying to, take a pill or a fast cut to it, and there's a lot of people out in the marketplace that look good but aren't good. So deep down, they're very shallow. So the key for most people to be really good at what you do is be deep and be good.
So if someone wants to learn more about the Hero Club, the C-Suite Network, connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
Just search for C-Suite, because we're all things C-Suite, and we dominate that hashtag, but you can find us at csuitenetwork.com. If you want to find me, you can just go to jeffreyhazlett360.com. You'll find me there, or just look for Hazlett. You'll find me pretty much everywhere. I'm bigger than necessary.
And HeroClub360.com.
And Hero, yeah,
And
exactly.
CSuite360.com to connect with everything.
We take them all. We want to do them all because I want to make it as easy. That's the way, as a marketer, I've always learned to make it easy for people to find you so they can do business with you. That's the best thing you should do.
Next on the show is a special segment called Small Business Big Ideas. This is where we travel the country with the Small Business Expo, interviewing attendees and sponsors on their thoughts and experiences on a variety of topics.
The biggest obstacle I faced when I chose to leave corporate America and become a business ownership was fear of failure. Fear of failure was putting these concerns that can I make it, can I win? Capitalization, am I gonna have the money resources necessary to succeed? Am I gonna have the right advice to avoid some of the mistakes others have made? These were all things that kind of slowed my process to go full-time business ownership. But once I overcame them, it was amazing.
My concerns for starting my own business is to, I suppose, generate enough leads firstly, and then to ensure that what it is I want to sell and really help and serve people with, that I'm targeting the right audience, There's also no point in trying to be a jack of all trades. So that would be a concern, it's the money is in the niche, it's identifying what is the correct niche and honing your efforts there. Otherwise you're just going to waste such an amount of time. And that would be a concern for me, and it is one that I'm trying to surround myself by the right people so I don't make that mistake.
I think the biggest obstacle that I faced when I became an entrepreneur is I didn't know what I didn't know. I literally jumped out of a 9-to-5 in order to pursue a passion which just happened to be magic. And I didn't realize that along with doing a couple of card tricks and floating a woman in the air and cutting her in 6 pieces, you actually had to run a business. And it took a long time, longer than normal, because I didn't have anybody to teach me how to run that kind of a business.
It's really hard for a lot of businesses to stay in business. You might not have the funds. Some people get into a business and they don't really know how much it's going to cost. The expenses pile up on you really quickly, and it kind of catches you off guard. Then you run out of business. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are scared of and a lot of people aren't really prepared for. So yeah, just kind of being prepared and knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Having a job's nice. It's supposedly a secure environment, and until somebody walks up and says, guess what? We decided to quit this product line or sell our business, and we're downsizing. And so the falsehood of security is kind of what I call it. And for me, the idea of having a job, and I teach this to my children as well, is having a job gets in the way of making money. And there's nobody who's going to look out for your security as much as yourself. So I always focus on what can you do on your own, no matter how small or large, as long as you're passionate about it, it helps other people, you're good at it, and it makes money.
He is a best-selling author and award-winning entrepreneur. He has made countless radio and TV appearances and has spoken at several prestigious events. He personally owns over 100 properties and is now a property developer in his own right, making him a self-made millionaire many times over. He has his own foundation serving underprivileged children and female single parents. So let's dive right into the interview with our special guest, Marco Robinson. Welcome to the show, Marco.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you so much for being here. You are actually my first international guest ever on today's
Congratulations.
And especially for you, I wore my velvet jacket.
Nice jacket.
And I see that you wore yours as well.
You saw mine and you thought, damn.
I had to step it up a notch. So thank you so much for doing that. And that's actually great that we're talking about that, because stepping it up a notch and It has to do with the circle that you spend your time with.
Circle of influence, yeah.
And we met not too long ago at the C-Suite Network at the Hero Club with Jeffrey Hazlett.
Yeah.
And I knew immediately that you were the type of person that I wanted to be in that circle. So thank you so much for being on the show and taking the time to actually come out here to Miami, Florida.
My pleasure.
Thank you. So let's start off a little bit by just share a little bit about your background and how you got to where you're at today.
Well, I'm a bit older than you, Ray.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit older.
But you look better than me, actually. So.
Nah, don't be silly. So, when I was 2 years old, my mum left my dad because he was a gambler. So, she had no money, she had no choice other than to leave that situation. And she went to live with her mum, and she was sexually abused by her stepfather, so she had to leave that situation as well. And this only came out last year, 50 years after the event, because we were doing the backstory from a TV show. And it came out, she told me then what had happened. So we slept, well, I didn't know, but I was 2 years old and we slept in the park. It was -5 degrees that night. And there was nowhere to go. And it was snowing. And she was holding me in her arms.
This is in London.
This is in Manchester, north of England. So it's colder there, right? And anyway, so for the next few years, we were kind of moving around all over the place, on and off, being homeless. She wasn't educated, or she wasn't in, university or anything like that. So she had to work and to pay the bills. And then she married another guy that was kind of a bipolar personality, in the sense that he was happy in one respect, but then he was quite violent. So, I saw him abuse my mum as well, which is a scary thing to watch as a kid, because I couldn't do anything about that. So anyway, I hated school, hated everything about school, just detested it. So I didn't really go. When I did go, I left, And by the time I was 16, I was working. I had my first job at 11 years old. And then I kind of just basically worked myself to death, so I could get some money. And then I broke through in sales, in direct sales. I was originally selling timeshare in the UK. I was selling timeshare in Spain that was from Manchester.
Okay.
And it was like the hardest job because it was commission only. So I learned really quickly how to sell, because otherwise you couldn't eat, right?
Yep.
So became a success doing that, and I broke the world record in sales in that industry. And then I was offered jobs all over the world, and I went to Malaysia in '97 to run a public company. Turned that around, made it $1 billion company. But when I was 29, I had a heart attack.
29.
Yeah. So I was under so much stress in work that it all got to me, and I was rushed to hospital. And then about a month later, I found out my wife was having an affair with my best friend, which didn't help the heart attack. And then I lost all my money on the stock market because I bought share options in the company I was working for, but they played me out. So it was like I learned a lot about politics and corporations and working your way up the ladder that is just not healthy. So after that, I left, and then I became an entrepreneur by default, really, because I didn't want to work for anybody else. That was my thing. I didn't want to have a boss ever again. So that was a pivotal moment for me. So I did that, and then I did some consultancy work. I spoke, trained salespeople, and then in 2008, I started a vacation incentive company. So I found a hack, because my question was, how can I be a millionaire? Because I was sick of having no money. So this idea came to me, so I thought about using the spare rooms in the hotels that weren't used. And I thought about, if a person checks out of a hotel and doesn't get a room bill, they're going to spend more money psychologically. And I did a beta test. I actually tried it. And it was true. So I rang these hotels. Most of them said, no, we're not going to give you free rooms. Some of them said, yeah. So I got these free rooms, put it into a voucher, like a vacation voucher, branded it in their company name. And my first sale was to Citibank, and I sold 10,000 vouchers at $65 each, which is 650 grand.
Wow.
Right? And then that year I made $12 million.
Wow.
Yeah. From one idea. Right? From nowhere. I'm a guy off the street, not educated. So that was really cool. And then I had all this money, I didn't know what to do with it. So my friends said, well, why don't you buy some real estate? So I bought some real estate, became successful in that. And when I do something, I want to be the best at doing it.
Yep.
So I want to be this kind of guy.
Yep.
And I want to prove to people that, I've got an edge, or I can give them value that they're not getting right now. So my first book I wrote in 2008. That became a #1 bestseller. My second book, The Financial Freedom Guarantee, was about real estate. And it was actually about mostly USA real estate. So I found an algorithm where I could find out the best properties that give the best returns. So I looked at factors like population growth, government taxes, a few other things like that. And I won an award for that. I won the People's Choice Best Real Estate Investment Company twice for getting people the best returns. And then Channel 4 TV, the biggest TV station in the UK, government owned, they called me last year and said, would you like to give a house away on TV to address the social housing issue in the UK? Because in the UK, very few people can afford a house. You have to put 30% deposit down, which is like £40,000 if most people don't have, you know. And rent is getting more expensive because people can't afford to buy, so there's more demand. So I said I'd love to do that, and they did ask a lot of people before me. They were richer than me. And I said, yeah, I'd love to do that. So I did that show, and at the end of that show, I gave 3 houses away.
Wow.
So I gave 1 house to a single mother, lovely girl called Holly, who had a baby that was 1 year old, and she reminded me of my mum and me when I was a kid. So she had rain coming through the roof of the flat she was in, and it was horrendous. She'd been abused sexually and God knows what. And then I met this Syrian refugee family that were in England for 10 years, and they paid $20,000 to a human trafficker to get them out of Syria 10 years ago in a ship container.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
So this is a guy and 2 children. They couldn't afford to bring the mum. Yeah. And there was no windows in the ship, and they didn't know where they were going to be, and they ended up in London. And when I met them, they had nowhere to, they weren't living in a house. They were living under a bridge in a church shelter. Guy, 64 years old, PhD, 4 PhDs. Kids, accountants degrees, 21 and 23. So they would walk from the bridge or the shelter every day to the library to study accountancy. When the library closed, they would have to go to the shopping mall, the food court, but they had no money, so they couldn't eat. So they had to wait till the church shelter opened at like 8 to get a meal.
Wow.
That was their story. So gave them a house. And then there was a lady that was 90% blind, a great friend of mine called Jo, that works in the emergency services, in like 911, you'd call it here. So she answered the calls every day. But she had no savings, and she's 50 years old. So I helped her with the house as well. So that was really amazing because it was the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life.
And that's kind of where you, I think, really found out that success isn't just about how much money you make, right?
No, money's just a game. It's just a scorecard, you know. What life is all about is the difference you can make to another human.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Well, it's been an amazing opportunity to have you here on the show and drop in some knowledge bombs for our studio audience. If anyone wants to get in contact with Marco, it's marcorobinson360.com. Make sure you connect with him. He's doing amazing things over the pond and now in the States as well, and he's an overall great guy. So Marco, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ray.
Really appreciate it.
All the best. Thank you.
What I liked best about Brandon 2 Days is being able to intermingle with so many experts in whatever their specific spaces are.
The fact that I literally went from not knowing what direction to go in, how to present myself. I mean, I was just completely lost, and now I'm focused and I'm very clear about what I need to do, and that's life-changing for me.
Oh, Brandon 2 Days is amazing because you literally brand in 2 days. So there's none of this back and forth. It was just such a gift to be able to actually get it done there.
The whole experience of being with business owners and entrepreneurs.
And it's not just the education. You walk away with actual branding material, photography, videography, your own 360 site. The types of people that can benefit from Brandon 2 Days are people like authors, consultants, speakers.
Anyone who is really the face of their business.
Anyone that's in the coaching industry.
And really anyone who wants to build a strong presence on social media.
He is a dynamic personality and highly sought after resource for Fortune 500 CEOs, small business owners, nonprofits, and community leaders from all sectors of society. For 3 decades, he has not only studied the science of achievement, he has mastered it by interviewing hundreds of successful business leaders and collaborating with them in the boardroom. He translates theory into bottom-line results for all his clients. As a premier keynote speaker and leading authority in achievement for audiences as large as 80,000, he energizes people to meet the challenges of the world around them. So let's dive right into our interview with our celebrity guest, Mr. Les Brown. Welcome to the show, Mr.
Thank
Les.
you. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you, Mr. Charisma. What a great smile you have.
Thank you so much. There is no one that I have ever met that makes me feel more warm and makes me smile this much than you, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for taking the time to be on the show. I mean, I know you're busy traveling. I know you had an event this weekend. Share a little bit, for those who don't know who you are and how amazing you are, share a little bit about your background and how you've gotten to this point in your life.
Well, first of all, I just think it's fascinating that I'm known everywhere around the world except the place where I'm from, which is right here in Miami. I was born in Liberty City with my twin brother, Wesley, an abandoned building on a floor. And we were adopted when we were 6 weeks of age. And I went to Douglas Elementary School in Overtown. I was labeled educable mentally retarded when I was in the 5th grade, put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. Fell again when I was in the 8th grade at Booker T. Washington High School here in Miami. But I ran into a teacher my junior year. His name was Leroy Washington. I eulogized him. They called him the great communicator. And one day when I was in his room looking for a friend named MacArthur Stevens, he said, "Young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me." I said, "Sir, I can't do that." He said, "Why not?" I said, "I'm not one of your students." And this student started laughing. And he said, "Do the problem anyhow." And I said, "I can't, sir." And they said, "He's DT." And they said, "What's DT?" "He's a twin. His brother Wesley is smart. He's Leslie. He's the dumb twin." And I said, "I am, sir." And he came from behind his desk. He looked at me. He said, "Don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." And that was a turning point in my life. As you know, Ray, how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And he interrupted my story. And that really changed my trajectory of my life. And I've traveled around the world speaking in over 50 countries and speaking for corporations and organizations, teaching them how to live their dreams rather than their fears.
And I love that. You have such an inspirational story. And for those of you that want to hear the full story, at the end of this episode, we'll give you that information so you can watch Les's entire story of how he came to be who he is today. But, you know, now currently, fast forward to the present, you know, you're speaking across the globe.
Yes.
You've created an amazing organization that helps entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals kind of step out of their comfort zone and their shell and really bring out the greatness in them.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about that organization?
Yes, we have Les Brown Unlimited, and what we do for entrepreneurs, for people that have a goal or dream or a product or something that they want to promote, whatever product they have of their business, it has a story. And you are the storyteller if you're the owner. So we teach you how to communicate your message, how to make a point, how to make a difference, how to make a greater impact with your communication. So we train people to become speakers and earn money as speakers, and trainers and life coaches. In addition to that, we train speakers how to begin to go national and to become global with their message to make a greater impact. And I do private one-on-one coaching with a select number of people because my goal at this stage of my life, man, I'm in my 74th year on the planet. I used to think people in their 40s were old. Now that I'm in my 74th year on the planet, I feel like I was a waiter at the Lord's Supper. You know? I'm old as Methuselah. So I work with a select number of people, teaching them how they can take their story. Knowledge is the new currency. There's no such thing as job security. According to the Department of Labor, over 20,000 people are losing their jobs every day due to artificial intelligence and computers and various technologies. So we teach people how to reinvent themselves, how to control their own personal economy, but most importantly, how to take their knowledge and their experiences and be able to build a multi-million-dollar corporation, just as I have, and it can evolve into a billion-dollar corporation.
Well, so I love the fact that you help people who really want to take their speaking, their story, and their business to the next level. But what if someone just says, you know, I have an amazing story, but I've never thought about being a speaker, or I don't even know where to start? Can they still attend and be part of the program?
Yes, anybody. Even if you don't know how to do it, that's where we come in. You don't have to know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. See, at the end of the day, Ray, all of us are born the same way, dumb, naked, and speechless. Okay? We don't know. I didn't do what I'm doing now for 14 years. And I had a friend who believed in me, and I used to work at WMBM radio station here in Miami. But I went to Columbus, Ohio, and I was the program director and the manager of station operations. And a friend of mine who was my news director said, hey, you know what, Brownie? You can do more than just be a radio personality. I said, man, what else can I do? He said, you can speak like Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins and all those dudes. I said, but man, I don't have a college education. I never worked for a major corporation. I said, I don't have the ability to do that. And he said to me, hey, you don't know what you can do. He said, you got to challenge yourself and get outside of your comfort zone. And it took him a long time to convince me, and I finally did. And the rest is history. I've been selected among the top 5 speakers in the world. All 4 of them, they're gone, so now I'm the last man standing. And so it's been interesting. I'm traveling. I've spoken to over 80,000 people in the Georgia Dome. If people go online and put in Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome, they'll see me giving that presentation. And it's been really a good experience of changing and transforming millions of lives around the world. And speaking for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, General Electric, it's been a great journey, and I'm excited about training others how to do that as well. We were designed for greatness, as you know, Ray, but we've been programmed to fail. And so when you're pursuing your greatness, you don't know what your limits are, so you act like you don't have any. And what you do with this program and with your speeches and presentations that you provide, you allow people to get a glimpse of that greatness and inspire them to reach for it.
And I appreciate that so much. Les, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you
pleasure's
so
mine.
much.
Thank you.
I look forward to having you again.
Yes, but one last thing.
Yes.
I want you to help me get a 6-pack like you. I got a 1-pack right now, but if you could help me with a 6-pack.
This is what he's referring to, okay? And this was a guy I used to know 2 years ago.
Well, I want to know him now.
All right. Well, we got it. He got it on live TV. So now we're gonna do that. I'm gonna work with you, Les. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on today's Premier Experts. I'm Ray Perez, reminding you to never leave for tomorrow what you can do today, and always stay true to your brand. If you or anyone you know is an expert in a particular niche or industry, we would love to have a conversation about potentially being on the show. Just visit todayspremierexperts.com, click on Be a Guest, and fill out the form.